Alrighty then, Successful Indie Author 5-Minute Focus, episode 1068, Assessing Opportunities. We all love good exposure. Now, exposure can't pay you the bills, but exposure can get you access to things that you might not have had otherwise, like new readers. I do anthologies, and it's all about getting new readers. It also pays. So, of course, it's a good thing. It doesn't pay great. That's the unfortunate part. We don't sell a whole lot of copies, but we do sell enough, and we do get enough of those copies into the hands of new readers. So, no cost to you. You get paid a little bit, and you get access to all kinds of new readers. That's a good anthology. So sometimes exposure is good, but don't go overboard. If you're doing an anthology every month or two a month where you're writing short stories for them, what are you getting paid? Because the limitation is in an anthology, it's usually a breakup of the group. So if you've got 10 people in it, you get 1/10 the share, maybe. You might get 1/20th of a share, because maybe the publisher takes 50% and then the authors split the rest. There are all different kinds of ways to monetize. Make sure you know what they are before you commit. So you can see that you get to make some money, because that's what I'm all about. You need to make money. Your words have value. If you're just writing for a hobby, great, do whatever it is. Just manage your expectations that you're not going to make any money in this business, because that's not your goal. So good. Make sure you know what your goal is. If your goal is to be a professional author, being a professional means you get paid for what you're doing. That's why amateur sports, they don't get paid, but now they kind of do with the NIL, but that's a completely different issue. So professional sports, professional authors, what is your primary goal? And if it is to make money, keep listening. Balance in all things. You need exposure. You absolutely must have exposure. Sometimes you can get that through your own promotions, through marketing, through advertising, through networking, through those things that you do, through a brand that becomes very strong. Then that becomes you. You can sell books using these things, and now you are the exposure. Sometimes, well, you got to break in somewhere. And sometimes, even if you're up here with exposure, you still need to stretch your tentacles out a little farther. So balance in all things. Where do you make your money? For me, it's long form. It's novels. And actually, it's novels that are in a series. That's where I make the most money. So I write short stories to expand my readership base, but I write long stories to make the money, to make the majority of what I do, because I sell a book. I put a short story in an anthology in order to get readers to then sell them books. I have a huge backlist, so I have something that will appeal to everyone. Part of the brand. So I work the brand in exposure. I expose those readers to this thing. So once they get exposed to me, if they say, yes, I like that story, that's what exposure is all about. If you're looking for exposure and you're using a work that's not the best version of you, are you exposing the right version of you to get those readers over to come over and take a look at your other stuff? Well, this isn't my best stuff, but my best stuff is over here. No. If you're going for exposure, it better be the glamorous best version of you that you can put out there. If you only do short form, short stories and novellas, well, then make sure that you're getting paid when you put those into anthologies, that they pay well. I think pro rates are 8 cents a word. So put in for some trad publications and make sure you abide by their submission criteria. Those are critical. And if you do, and mid-list, like me, if you put in with for me to publish that in the anthology, then you get what you get. Put in with the submission criteria. Make sure it's in the right format. Make sure it's how it needs to be under the submission criteria, no matter who you're submitting to. So, not submitting, not Dom submission. No, not that kind of submission. Sending your story for consideration for inclusion in an anthology. Always goes back to, what is the benefit to your business? Does your business rely on you selling short stories to anthologies, or is it long form? Make sure you know your business and work things appropriately. If the other things you're doing for exposure are impacting the main part of your business, then you got to relook. That's the balance. Don't do so many of these other things that it detracts and distracts you from doing what is the majority of your business. If it's novels in a series, write your novels in a series and jump out, write a short story for an anthology every now and then, but not every month. Think about that balance. Maintain your focus on what your primary goal is. My stories sell the most. My stories in series, so that's what I'm going to focus on. I'll write 1 or 2 short stories for these other things. That's how you assess your opportunities. You try to get in if you can, if for various things, but limit that. Don't be putting in for everything, because what if they all accept you? Holy cow, now you've committed, you've overcommitted for stuff that's exposure, but then you're losing what you're going to expose them to. Balance in all things. Peace, fellow humans.